Hey guys, I can't believe so many of you actually want to see me on a video. However, ask and you shall receive. So I'm going to be talking everything 2019. Obviously, I have all the predictions and all of the opinions, so let's just get into it, shall we? First things first, I think interest rates are going to drop this year. I think the Bank of Canada actually dropped the ball last year when they raised interest rates, and we're maybe a little too afraid to admit a mistake. I think they raised interest rates for a variety of reasons last year, but mostly political pressure from people who are saying that the housing market was too hot. Now we're going to see the complete opposite. I think the world economy just isn't doing what they thought it would be doing at this point, as well as with recent announcements in Ontario here about manufacturing shutdowns, especially the GM plant. It's going to trickle down to real estate, so it's going to put pressure on interest rates. So I think with the rental market, what's going to happen is it's going to heat up, especially around the summertime. The problem is since Kathleen Wynne announced her fair housing plan, nobody can afford to move. Landlords had to jack up rents in order to compensate for the fact that they're only allowed small marginal rent increases per year once they have a tenant. This has created a housing shortage, especially in the downtown core, and every year around summertime is when everyone feels the need to move, plus all of the students come back. So we're going to see, I think, a real mess this year in the rental market. Now, I also think pricing is going to slow a little bit. Now, don't get too excited. It's not going to slow everywhere. Leslieville, the beaches, downtown core, I don't think you're going to see any relief in sight. However, if we move up to the suburbs outside of the GTA, talking Scarborough, Pickering, Ajax, Markham, all of these cities are going to correct themselves a little bit. We saw this happen the end of last year, and I think it's a trend that we're going to see continuing into this year. It's going to be a lot harder to sell property. Agents are going to have to put more effort into their listings. They're going to have to take time and actually stage it, put some money into marketing. Otherwise, the property is going to sit there. Sellers are also going to have to become more realistic with pricing as well as strategy, because it's not going to be as easy as it was the last 2 years. Another good thing to mention, which I don't think a lot of people talk about, is the luxury throw-off. Now, there's a lot of statistics that get thrown around, but what you guys aren't seeing is the full picture. Last year was actually the slowest year we've ever had in the luxury market in the last 10 years. There was very, very little transactions done in the luxury market. Now, this is going to affect statistics overall. So when you see that average sales or the sales dollar is down, first time since 2008, you have to understand what that means though. If there isn't a lot of luxury product that's being traded, then obviously it's going to bring the median down. Doesn't mean that there's something wrong with the market at all. However, I think this is a trend that's going to start reversing in the next couple years. What we have in Toronto and mostly in Canada is a lot of old money. There isn't a lot of new money here. So a lot of these people are getting older, and I predict that a lot of them aren't going to want the mansions anymore. They're going to sell it off, move into a penthouse condo, and have a vacation home. I would love to see that trend. Now we're going to talk about the condo train. The condo train is not going to stop. I think it's going to slow down a little bit here in the core. We're not going to see the same type of pricing increase year over year that we did last year. However, I still think the condo market's going to be super hot, especially downtown. People are starting to realize that this is where they need to be. Everyone wants to be here, so it's just a numbers game. If you have a condo listing that is unique, it's going to fly off the shelves. Sellers are getting amazing pricing. What we're going to see happening in the next couple years is the slowdown of pre-construction. So we've been on average delivering about 30 to 35,000 units per year here in Toronto. This year, it's going to be about 1/4 of that. That's really going to weigh itself on the market, the resale market. If there isn't enough product to sell and still the same amount of people coming here, what's it going to do to pricing? It's just, I'm not doing rocket science. I'm not splitting atoms here. It's just common sense. What's going to happen? Also, what I think is really, really exciting here in Toronto is the commercial market. We actually have one of the lowest vacancies in all of North America right now for commercial. Pricing in commercial has shot up in the last 2.5 years. There's a lot of potential here if you're looking to buy a commercial space. If you own a business and you're renting and you plan on being in business in the next 10 to 15 years, you need to look into buying your own space. You're basically just opening a savings account. Every time you pay your mortgage, you're basically paying yourself. If you're paying rent, you're paying somebody else's mortgage. If worst to worst, all you get at the end of it is a paid off property, I think that's pretty fantastic. However, I can pretty confidently say you're going to experience some major year-over-year gains, especially here in the next 5 years. Development sites are becoming increasingly hard to come by. They're extremely expensive. It's very hard to get a development site through the rezoning process right now. It's taking a lot longer than it would before. So I think what's going to happen in the city is it's going to be more like a monopoly. There's going to be a few big developers who control most of the development here in the city. This is not good for consumers long term. If there's only a few key players, they can basically control and dictate the type of product they're delivering, which is going to bring down standards. It's just what happens if they don't have any competition. What I think is going to be really exciting is the pre-construction market. Now, right now, the pre-construction market downtown doesn't make a lot of sense, to be honest. The price per square foot of pre-construction compared to resale is off by quite a bit. Pre-construction is higher, where pre-construction really should be cheaper in order to induce buyers to buy. However, there's a few ways pre-construction still makes sense. Pre-construction makes sense if you're looking to hold long term. If you're not ready to carry another property yet, but you know you will be in a certain period of time, you can buy a pre-construction condo now, have your money, start making payments on the down payment. So I think what's going to happen in the city is it's going to be more like a monopoly. There's going to be a few big developers who control most of the development here in the city. This is not good for consumers long term. If there's only a few key players, they can basically control and dictate the type of product they're delivering, which is going to bring down standards. It's just what happens if they don't have any competition. We'll see what happens in the next couple years. I think there's a lot of potential right now to buy commercial space. There's still a lot of potential to make money as a builder downtown. But what I think is going to be really exciting is the pre-construction market. Now, right now, the pre-construction market downtown doesn't make a lot of sense, to be honest. The price per square foot of pre-construction compared to resale is off by quite a bit. Pre-construction is higher, where pre-construction really should be cheaper in order to induce buyers to buy. However, there's a few ways pre-construction still makes sense. Pre-construction makes sense if you're looking to hold long term. If you're not ready to carry another property yet, but you know you will be in a certain period of time, you can buy a pre-construction condo now, have your money, start making payments on the down payment, and you can do it slowly, probably over a year. Pre-construction also makes sense if you're looking to buy your dream unit. If you find your dream floor plan, buy it. You're buying to live, you're gonna hold it long term, so go for that investment every single time. Where I think there's gonna be a lot of opportunity in the pre-construction market is outside of the GTA. As prices shoot up downtown, it's really gonna start pushing people outside of the core. So a lot of students and a lot of people who are maybe in their first couple years of working are gonna have to live slightly outside of the core. They're still going to want to be close, probably within 10-15 minutes driving range, so North York, Scarborough, Etobicoke, Mississauga, all of these places are going to do really well, I think, investment-wise in the next 5 years. So if you're looking to pick up a pre-construction condo, don't be afraid to go outside of the core. You're going to do really well.